You want answers?
I think I'm entitled to.
You want answers?
I want the truth!
You can't handle the truth.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Prepared Mind channel. And I tell you, what a freaking week we have had. Woo! Feel like Ric Flair there, Nature Boy Ric Flair with a big woo. The hell? I think I bit a hole in my lip. Hey everyone, it's Freaky Friday. It may as well be fucking Freaky Friday because guess what? Joe Biden's favorite freak, Sam Brinton, you know, the pup handler, the bald freak who wears dresses and lipstick. Well, he pleads no contest to felony charges of stealing luggage, folks. Guess what? He made a plea. His lawyer was so talented that he pleaded him into no jail time. So basically they said, hey, you stole luggage that had thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars in jewels and clothes and makeup and everything. But since you pleaded guilty, we're going to let you go, no jail time. Freaky Friday? Oh, you bet. You betcha. You betcha, eh? I tell you, I'm just going to play with this camera. Play with it, play with it, play with it. There we go. Okay, folks, here we are. Friday. What do you want to talk about? Okay, we're live. We've gone through an entire week of shit, left and right. You get to pick the topics. Get your questions in now. Because we're going to do the thing where I do one, you do one. We go back and forth. We kind of shotgun back and forth. I wanted to start out with the Freaky Friday because everyone knows what's going on. We have an incredible amount of freaks out there. Yep. Holy baloney. Michael Brown just threw in a $25. Well, it's not a Sunday live show, but it's a hell of a super chat donation with $25. Thank you, Michael. Get your question in. We'll definitely want to see what is on your mind, man. Your mind. It is. It's not Sunday Night Live, but I'll tell you what. This Sunday we will be live. We're going to be live on whatever channel we're on. But once again, if you're on the preparedmind.club, if you're on subscribestar.com, $2 a month, and you're live with us on Sunday, guaranteed. Whereas the rest of the internet, we're getting screwed over because people didn't know that there's a backup channel and that there's another backup channel and there's another backup channel. And we're being silenced on everything except the very back. And then, of course, the club and Subscribestar. Woo! Okay, Jolene, Uman, keep me updated on what is going on with the questiones, and we'll move forward. And speaking of moving forward, let's do this. Let's do a question right away. Jolene, who do we want to put up first? We've got Shabam. Mikey G checking in. He says, oh, this is a great comment. Screw with Americans' rights and privileges? No problem. But screw with their beer and out come the machine guns. I'll tell you what, Mikey. If that's what it fucking takes, good enough. I say good enough. If that's what it takes for Americans to finally wake up, good. Because they've been pissing all over us. Now, this is what kills me is their beer. Really? That's what it took? Well, Nike shoes, we were kind of pissed off about. Dick's Sporting Goods, they screwed with our guns, but that didn't bring out the guns. But I know what he says, bring out the machine guns. They're going after Budweiser. Everyone is. This is telling everyone exactly where the line is drawn. Now, what gets me is, folks, they've also drawn the line at the schools, parents have. And they've gone back to the schools. Back to the schools. And said, you can't do this to our kids. And the school said, fuck you. So the parents went to the school boards and told the school boards, right? Hey, you can't do this to our kids. And the school board said, fuck you. And then the school boards went to the Department of Justice, the Attorney General, and the President of the United States and said, we have parents trying to tell us what to do in the schools. And the Department of Justice, the FBI, and the President of the United States called parents domestic terrorists. Yeah, parents also drew the line in the sand, Mr. Mikey G, at their schools. But they really got, I mean, they woke up a lot of young people, a lot of older people, a lot of beer drinking, hard working sons of bitches. And they ruined it. No rightful American, no red-blooded testosterone pumping through their body, redneck, hillbilly, southerner, anyone who drank Bud Light is like, I ain't putting that fucking beer in my mouth. Not with that fruitcake on the can. And there it is, folks. They're out there, though. They're going to keep pushing. Now, down in Florida, a trans teacher. Oh, yeah. Folks, there's schools and then there's Democrat schools. There's schools and then there's Democrat schools. So guess what kind of school this is? A trans Florida teacher threatened to shoot the students. Well, the police took away that fruitcake's guns. I guess that seems on its face like a good idea. But as Kaz would point out, well, so someone just has to complain and you lose your rights? Where's the due process, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera? But I think in the case of trans people, they are mentally deranged. According to the psychological books, it is a mental disorder. That's right. Gender dysphoria is a mental disorder. In other words, you have mental problems. And if you're threatening violence combined with a mental problem, yeah. Right? If you are an incompetent, right? Like someone who is mentally retarded, you have the right to life, but you have restricted rights. Right? So someone who is mentally retarded may be found to be so incompetent that they cannot drive a car, or that they cannot engage in business, or sign contracts, or own guns. So there's some interesting stuff here, isn't there? Anyways, guess what? There's schools, folks, and then there are Democrat schools. This school that had a trans teacher threatened to shoot the students. They had their guns taken away by the police. That's how dangerous this person is. But guess what? They've kept their job. That's right. The school said, oh, yeah, it's okay to threaten to murder kids. But, you know, you can keep your fucking job. Unbelievable. If I threatened to kill kids, they'd lock my ass up. Who is the one shooting kids, though? Oh, yeah, trans people. They're the ones threatening and actually murdering people, mass murdering. Yep, they keep waiting. It's not going to happen. They keep waiting for some white Republican, some black Republican. They want any Republican, please, any Republican be a mass murderer so they can start screaming and yelling to take away people's guns. You know what I love? I love that Dianne Feinstein right now, Dianne Feinstein, senator from California, she can't stay in Congress. She can't stay in the Senate. She can't stay there anymore. She can't handle it. She's too fucking old. She is going to die a bitter old bitch, and she will not see in her days America disarmed. Her dream of everybody, and I quote, Mr. and Mrs. America, turn them in. You're fucking done, you old hag. Good. Just go back to California and spend the next decade in the world's best retirement home because you can afford it. Because your husband made a shit pile of money off of government contracts. There's a lot more out there than meets the eye, folks. And I know an awful lot of shit about what's going on and who the players are. let's move on. It is Friday free-for-all time, folks. And I'm in a rare mood. I've had a hell of a fucking work week. I busted my ass, just like every one of you does. And I'm here every day to get it done, to talk about what's happening so people get prepared. People get prepared. Let's do this. Jolene, let's do another one. Let's get some more questions out of the audience. We have Silver Eagle checking in. He says, folks need to be careful with groups. The infiltrators are everywhere. I have very few in my personal group, but that is where the problem lies. Who can you trust? Deception everywhere. Now, Silver Eagle, I agree 100%. I can't agree enough. The infiltrators are everywhere. Whether you're in a political group and you've been infiltrated by the FBI, or you've been infiltrated by a left wing who pretends to be right wing so that they can turn you into the FBI. I know Democrats, folks. I know lots of them. They give out little clues as to who they are. They pretend to be Republicans, but they're not. They really aren't. You can tell. They just don't have the right stuff when they talk about topics. They're just around. They're listening. You can tell when they listen intently. They're trying to figure out how we think. It's like these fuckheads. Try freedom and liberty. Try leaving everyone else alone. There's a fucking clue. There's a starter. And then they'll reveal themselves, folks. They do. They just can't handle it after a while. They lose their shit. And I think we all know people like that. We have them in our work, in our circle of friends. We have them in our families. Who can you trust? Really, folks, the only way that you can truly trust people, I think, is to spend an awful lot of time with them and let them see you at your worst. And you want to see them at their worst. Additionally, folks, oftentimes you can't trust anyone unless you've basically put your life in their hands and they've done the same for you. That's why the camaraderie in the Army and the Marine Corps is such a strong bond. Now, you could also say that that bond exists between other people and other groups. You could say it exists in gangs, in gangland, no matter what color the gang is or what city they are in. Right? They have been in dangerous times and done a lot of shit. So there's that old saying, there's no honor among thieves. I actually beg to differ. I bet there is a lot of honor amongst thieves. Right? They've been around. They know the business. You can, but I don't know. Maybe you can't. Maybe I'm misunderstanding that quote. But people that have been through the fucking ringer with the other people, then they trust. Going into SHTF, folks, we've all been pampered. Americans are soft. We've been pampered. We've been spoiled. We've had it good. We eat well. We live well. Look at my bunker. Even my bunker. Yeah, how neatly folded my towels are. And table is set for dinner. The lighting is just right. The air temperature. Yep, it's a cool 70 degrees because it's always 70 degrees under the ground. We're pampered. That's the point. Things get hard. Things get tough. People will find out who is and who isn't on their team. That's just how it goes. Now, it's a great comment, great suggestion, great questions, great thoughts. Think about it for yourself. Can you really trust people, or do you just want to trust people? Now, I understand because I want to trust people, but I don't really believe that I can in all cases. So let's do this. Let's move on to this topic. on this Free for All Friday. Oh, yeah, gotta love it. Yeah, folks, there's a band out there called The Script. And the guitarist is a famous one named Mark Sheehan. Died, dead, age 46. Take a wild guess, folks. And I think I said it yesterday. I didn't want everyone to forget that I'm not watching and not looking out there for people who are being affected by the Jim Jones juice. I mean, I don't know. He's a guitarist. Aren't rock and roll players just prone to dying from drug overdoses all the time? Well, okay, this isn't a guitar player. This is a 42-year-old woman, Leslie Swick Van Ness. And I love how the mainstream media described her, a popular NBC affiliate anchor. I don't think you could be an affiliate anchor for NBC or any other network unless you're popular, because no one wants to watch an unpopular asshole. Just ask Don Lemon of CNN. He's got some dirt on his bosses, folks. He's got some blackmail. He's got something going on because he hasn't been fired yet, and he should be. Still, Leslie Swick Van Ness was on a sunny Florida vacation, age 42, not a rock and roll band player, died suddenly while having a good time with the family. You think there's a problem with Pfizer out there? Moderna, AstraZeneca? I don't know. Geez, I'm not an expert like, well, Dr. F. Dr. F.U. Yep, that's right. Dr. Fauci has an F and a U in his name. I tell you. Let's do this. Let's talk about the Jim Jones juice. Guess what? The United States government has approved the first 3 Cerveza-Bug Jim Jones juice injury claims. That's right. They're now being sued. And between the 3 of them, they paid out $4,634.89. Really? People were injured. $4,634.89. One person got anaphylaxis. And they got 2 payments, one for $1,500 and one for $1,000. Another person got $2,000. This is unbelievable, folks. Unbelievable. Yep, that's it. There were 3 payments, and one of them was to the same. 2 of them were to the same one person. Well, I guess the cat's out of the bag. That the government is going to start being sued and paying money. But what are you going to do with $4,600? You, America, you were coerced. You were threatened by everyone in the government, all the way up to the president, Gigi Joe Biden himself. Let's go, Brandon. Right? I should be able to sue them for fraud and duress for just trying to make me take that shit, which was not approved. Well, they had something that was approved, but no one could get that. You go say, give me the approved one, and they would say, you can't have that one. But we've got this other Jim Jones juice over here, which isn't approved, which is experimental, which is proven to cause problems. And boy, howdy, I guess over in Ukraine, they were testing on people years ago, huh? How about that shit? But yeah, duress, folks. Threatening people, coercing them, using duress, holding their jobs, their careers, their contracts against them. That is what duress is. Fucking fraudsters in Washington, D.C. All right, let's do this. Jolene, who do we want to throw up there next? And it is Uman. I'm always surprised when it's Uman. I shouldn't be surprised. He's here every day. It's Uman. And he says the only person you can trust 100% is yourself. Yep, it does remind me of the beginning to the movie Conan the Barbarian, circa 1980, with Arnold Schwarzenegger. And it starts with Conan's father talking to young boy Conan. And he tells them about the riddle of steel while pointing to his sword. In today's times, that would be a gun. Now, if I showed a real gun on camera, someone might get scared. Why the fuck would anyone be watching me and talking to you guys in the chat if they were scared or didn't like the message here? Still, they come here just to snitch and bitch. Anyways, back to Conan. Today, the gun is the surrogate replacement for the sword. But in the movie, Conan's father says to him, you can't trust men, not woman, not beast, meaning horse or dog or whatever. But he says this you can trust. It's in your hands, so you're trusting yourself. I agree with you, man. The only one you can 100% trust is yourself. But can you? And maybe this is an even better question to ask. Let me get rearranged here. Man, getting older as hell and staying in good physical shape is difficult. Okay, let me ask you this. Could you trust your life to someone if you trust them 50%? I guess maybe it depends on the situation you're in, right? Ask yourself this. Let's do a little scenario, if we shall, because I like the topic. And I do these scenarios in my head quite frequently. Shit has hit the fan, big time. There's a problem with Antifa and BLM and other communist rioters in your city. They are here and there lashing out into the suburbs and threatening people and causing trouble and mayhem. And you formed a band of defenders for your neighborhood, your street. And the idea is that no one is to be allowed down the street after 9 o'clock at night unless the people at the gate created a gateway at the end of the road, the end of the, shall we say, housing development. No one's allowed through unless their car or their vehicle is recognized. No one else is allowed in. Can you trust your neighbors to do that for you so that your neighborhood is protected? Now, you may not know them fully, right? You may not have spent a lot of time, but can you trust your neighbor that way? Right. You probably can. That's a level of trust that if it's betrayed, right, everyone would find out because there'd be a hail of gunfire from houses if fruitcakes were allowed past and they started causing trouble. And the person who was entrusted with that duty would at least have their asses kicked and quite probably expelled for letting in Antifa and BLM and other communists. Now, another type of trust would be, well, I've got literally a chest of gold. A chest of gold, and I need someone to watch it for me. You know, it's a little piggy bank chest. It's got $1 million worth of gold in it. It's not much as far as the size is, but a lot of value. And I needed to trust somebody with it, not to run off. It's $1 million in gold. I don't think I could trust anyone with that. Right? I'm going to turn my back. And you have a chance to rob me of $1 million that's untraceable because it's gold. a little tricky, right? You're going to be, oh, you know, I've got some friends I could trust. Yeah. Well, again, it's just a question of trust. It's a question of what situation are we talking about? Is it an object or thing that you're trusting? Is it for some safety, or is it your life? You're putting your life in someone else's hands. Right? You and a friend walking down the street in a bad neighborhood. Well, he's got your back, you've got his. Can you trust him to keep an eye out and look for, shall we say, dangerous foes and targets? Yes. Can you trust him to stand toe to toe, back to back, if you're surrounded by thugs, and fight to the death? Or would your friend basically run for it, or bail, or cower, or, you know, who knows? Or can you trust people to do that for you? That's a funny situation. I've been in a number of situations, folks, where I have entrusted people, maybe not with my life in some cases, in other cases, definitely. And I did not like the circumstance, and I did not like how it turned out. Because one person's idea of what to do in a situation is not how I would think. And therefore, I wasn't happy with how the situation turned out. Luckily, I didn't end up with a hole in me. Okay, so let's let us continue. I think it's my turn. I've got a great topic here. A great free-for-all Friday topic. Stupid computer. There we go. Now, in Minneapolis, the great city of Minneapolis, in Minnesota, way up north, where the Swedes and the Germans settled. Right? That's right, up in Minneapolis. It is now the first major city, big-time metropolis in America that is going to allow Muslim prayer calls 5 times a day. First off, I'm offended because I want my bells for my religion to ring 10 times a day, loudly, in every corner of the city, so everyone has to fucking hear it. Why is it that the Muslims get theirs 5 times a day? I'll tell you what, folks. It's 2023. Everyone has little private alarm watches, and everyone has little phones. We've got alarms everywhere. There's clocks on the walls everywhere. You know what time it is. You don't need major alarms ringing off of every wall and tree and off of every squirrel so that you can hear it no matter where you're standing. Right? It's not 1455 and loud bells and calls across the city, in the schools, and around homes need to be reverberating to alert everyone to do what they should already know to do on their own. Because everyone has alarms, watches, clocks on the walls. This is complete bullshit. It's a system of submission and control and immersion in their culture, not America's culture. Fuck that. It's no more than that. Submission, control, and submersion in their bullshit. Oh, folks, yeah. Scotland, under the spell. England is under the Muslim spell. Bullshit. Fuck them. You can put an alarm. Folks, I don't know what time it is. I need the loudest bell on the fucking planet to call me to my knees so I can face Mecca. I don't know how to keep time. I need a bell to tell me. Really. Folks, people know when it's their fucking break time. I've been at work 2 hours and 15 minutes. I now get a 15-minute break. They know when it's break time, and then another 2 hours goes by. They've been there 4.5 hours. They now know it's time for their lunch. They take their half an hour. You don't even have to have a clock or an alarm or nothing. They just fucking know. They get back from their half-hour lunch. Now they've been at work 5 hours. They work another hour and a half, get another 15-minute break, and then finish out their day. And they know when their break times are, folks. But no, Not when it comes to the Muslims. They need to have prayer alarms all over the fucking city. I'm sick of this shit. Beer cans and bells. What a bunch of hooey. Oh, John, you're so offensive. Well, then where's my fucking alarms? Where's the bells I want to hear? Where's the rights and the values that I find to be both necessary and in the Constitution? Why are they being violated so much? All right, let's do this. Jolene Uman, who do we want to roll up next? We have Charles Gentry. He says, things are heating up worldwide. Hang on and take your choice of what is going to do America in. Grid down is the most efficient way to depopulate and subdue America. Well, apparently, they need to take the trans people off the beer cans and subdue America with really cheap alcohol. That would be a start. Let's see. Things are heating up worldwide. Grid down has been threatened, Charles, for over a decade. It's one of the first topics that I've talked about on this channel 10 years ago, almost 10 years ago. We haven't been on for a full 10 years, but we're in our 10th year. Anyways, here's the point. Prepare for grid down. Have solar panels, battery backup. Have solar powered flashlights, all you can get solar powered. Right? Have a good food supply. You're set. To depopulate America, I think the most efficient way to depopulate America is to tell them they need the Jim Jones juice and continue to make it available to them. Continue to make it needed. Oh, wait, here we are. Primary care providers are receiving money, incentives, to continue to recommend people take the Jim Jones juice. Well, yeah, lawsuits are now being allowed. It started, right? The VAERS data speaks for itself, the injury data. Yeah, people are still being told to take it. Doctors and nurses are still pushing it because they're being incentivized, follow the money. We've killed a lot more people, Mr. Gentry, with Jim Jones juice. They've taken people out of the gene pool. They've taken them out of life. They've taken them out of the repopulate, because of these sterility issues. And that is your depopulation. That's working great. Subduing America is being done by convincing them they have no authority and that they need to submit, and submit. Well, once again, I seem to have missed the submit train, and I seem to have missed the subdue train and the depopulation train. So it's interesting, the social fascists in Washington, D.C. and Europe, they seem to be depopulating, dehumanizing, and removing the very fruitcakes that are helping them push their agenda. Now, we do need to think about threats, as you suggest, that can do us in. And one of those ways, I think, is to talk about China and Taiwan. China and Taiwan. Now, China's been talking shit. They've been talking shit for years, and they haven't convinced me that they're serious about invading Taiwan. They had a chance to take out the number 3 witch, Nancy Pelosi, and say, we warned you, we said stay away from Taiwan, but you, Nancy Pants Pelosi, tried flying there, so we shot your dumb, grizzly old ass down. Nope. That didn't happen. They aren't that serious. Right? If they were that serious, they would have done it. They had Taiwan surrounded, doing naval drills, Air Force drills, and they didn't attack. Well, since we talked last, and I'll throw this out there for Uman, I thought, what would have to be done for me to believe that it's possible that China is on the verge of invading China? When you threaten to take a billionaire's money, When you threaten to take an old rich dude's money, he's going to say, fuck that, and he's going to pull up and leave. Well, no one other than Warren Buffett, right, do we need to point to. He is a billionaire. He is an old white guy. He likes his money, and he sold billions of dollars in stocks that was a Taiwanese computer chip maker, because he is in fear of China preparing for an offensive. With everything else that's happened in Taiwan and China and the threats, Warren Buffett never left. He's like, fuck it, I don't believe it, I'm not buying it. Now he's leaving. He's pulled his money. That, to me, is probably the best evidence that something could happen. Now, is this supportive of the theory that Sunday, it's Sunday, they're going to invade? No. I still am not buying a particular day yet, but it's very fascinating that on the last trading day, Friday, Warren Buffett is sold out. He's leaving Taiwan. That's interesting. Really, folks, you can't trust the media. They're so stupid, they'll shoot themselves in the feet. Once again, Don Lemon, right? I can't trust the government. Joe Biden doesn't even know his own fucking name. Karine Jean-Pierre today was praising the president because he was walking. The other day, his son, Hunter, scumbag, criminal. That's right. Criminal, drug user, criminal, had to help his dad find his way off stage. I don't trust these people. They lie too much. The military? Oh, yeah. I'm going to trust Lloyd Austin. Yeah. I don't trust what any of these people say about Taiwan, the media or the government. But a billionaire, they will pull their money lickety fucking split if they have a shadow of a doubt. So I'm going to move my level up, not to DEFCON 25, but I'm going to move it up from nothing's going to happen in Taiwan to, hey, that's an interesting indicator. You know, Warren Buffett pulling up the anchor and sailing. All right, let's do this. Jolene, who do we want to throw up on the board now? We've got David Clinton. He says, Big John, better get on the beet powder. It keeps blood pressure in check. What makes you think I got a blood pressure issue there, David? Is it the way I look? Do I look red? I got a little sun today. Do I sound a little stressed out? I tell you what, man, I don't take beet powder, but I take a good regimen of vitamins, minerals, and herbal supplements to keep my kidney stones in check, to keep my shall we say, stress levels low. I sleep very, very well. I just don't get enough of it. And I've received some fine compliments lately on the appearance of my health and my physique. So I think that's a good sign when people are like, hey, you look fucking dangerous. I say, I appreciate that. When people just walk up to you and go, you know what? You're the type of guy that I would never fuck with. That's a nice thing to hear. And I think we should all be doing all we can to get in good shape and stay in good shape. Do cardio work, resistance training with weights, and watching your frickin' neighbors to find out who the communists are out there. You don't need to dox them. You don't need to snitch on them. You just need to know who they are. Wow. Wow. You know what I want to do? I want to go back down the Wild Guest Boulevard. And there it is. You know what? Normally when someone gets sick or dies, we find out what the symptoms were or what the issue was. Sometimes we even find out what caused it. But with Jim Jones juice, when it's involved, we tend to get a whole lot of fluff and bullshit. For example, yesterday I said Jamie Foxx, comedian, actor, superstar, was hospitalized by a mystery illness. Why even fucking tell us if you're not going to tell us what it was or what it's suspected to be or what the symptoms were or what we think the symptoms were? Instead, we're just going to throw it out there with the nebulous, it's a mystery. We don't have enough fucking mystery already. Well, I got something even better. Well, no, I'm not going to say even better. Even more mysterious, right? And folks, you're allowed to take guesses. Anyone in the Denver area, a high school has closed because 3 teachers died. What? 3 teachers died at a high school. Causes of death are still pending. Okay, so a teacher dies. You're going to shut the school down? 2 teachers die. You're going to shut the school down? 3 teachers die. Shut that school. And to say the causes of death are still pending. What? They haven't decided what lie to tell us? I mean, this is weird as fuck. Guesses? Anyone? How about this? Could it have been fentanyl powder was put in their fucking coffee? Hey, this coffee creamer makes me feel good. Could it have been literally a juice booster day for the staff? I don't know. But what if it was? Attention, all staff, go to the office. We're doing juice boosters. We're going to get your Jim Jones juice booster right now. And then they do the boosters and 3 teachers fall over. Folks, one teacher was, I think, in the 50s, but the youngest one, 24 years old. So it's not like there was a bad bottle of Geritol in the break room they got into. They were mainlining. No. Cause of death still pending. I'm not laughing because they died. I'm laughing because they fucking died. Why? Denver. Why Denver? Why high school? Why 3 teachers? Why are they dead? All right, Jolene says, knock off your shit, John. Let's do some more questions. Oh, there it is, Michael Brown. He says, I learned 3 words from you. Attrition. Modus operandi. I can't remember the other. Maybe later. I'm drinking fire water and Native American. That's fucking funny. Oh, man. I can add, let's see, nutrition. Add nutrition to that attrition. I know you already knew that one. The MO, modus operandi. Then you have the SOP, the standard operating procedure. Anyways, I like using good words. I do. I like having a solid vocabulary. Very important. Folks, a good word properly used conveys powerful messages. Powerful messages. So, getting people to pay attention to what you're saying. Maybe if you use a word that isn't common, they'll get their attention, perk up their ears, right? Additionally, they may go, man, that's a crazy word. What do you mean by that? When I say modus operandi, right? That's kind of a Latin thing. It's the mode of operation. How does something work? How do people work? So yeah, it's a good thing. And in addition to using good words, I do recommend drinking a little bit of alcohol. I'm not a doctor nor a health or scientific expert. I'm not a scientician. But I have read from credible doctors, other than Dr. FU. I've read from other doctors and their reports that a little bit of alcohol is good. helps thin the blood, helps you relax, has a sedative effect to, lower the blood pressure. Anyways, Michael, thanks for the awesome donation. It goes into the Go Back and See Your Grandson Fund. And I'm very excited. Lucas sent me a video. Little guy's a couple weeks old already, and he's flipping over, stomach to back. He does tummy time and flips over onto his back. Little kids scare me, though. They look like they could break at any time. Anyways, I'm going to go visit him in a few weeks, and you guys have had some nice donations. How's that, man? Donations. Some donations to help cover the expense of the trip. The Get the Fuck Back to California and Visit Your Grandson Fund. Thank you very much, everyone. All right, next question, next comment, next thought. It is survival readiness. And he says, here it is, Intel leak. Apparently a 21-year-old National Guardsman who was a low-level employee. How did he even have access to top secret information? Feels like a distraction. He's being made a patsy. Well, it wasn't just top secret information. It was the most high top secret CIA intelligence reports and briefs. I listened to an ex-spook in a couple of videos. Kaz sent one, and I got some other information. People who work for the CIA said there's no way that this kid could have gotten anywhere near this information, much less got his hands on it, removed it from the premises he was in. Period. Bar none. No fucking way. And here's another thing, folks. People who have super duper duper high access clearance, they can't just go get whatever top secret data and documents that they're shall we say, qualified to possess. You have to have orders. You have to have a reason to go to that place where stuff is kept. You have to have a reason and an order, permission, if you will, to go get that one specific item. Not, hey, why don't you go down to the vault today there, little Jimmy, and just grab something that you find to be fucking interesting off the shelf and just walk on out of there and out the front gates. No one's going to say a word to you. You've got to go. You're going to have an order signed by the right person. And I believe that with today's standards, you don't just do that. They send a top secret codified email or message system saying, little Johnny's coming down there. And he has orders to pick up file X32163-1Y256924. And you're to give him that and that only. And so little Johnny goes down there and he gets document number. I can't say that number again. And he gets just that one. But certainly, folks, what we're being told is going on is these leaks of data. Oh, there's heads are rolling. People are embarrassed. The CIA looks stupid. The Pentagon looks retarded. The Secretary of Defense looks as dumb as he is. And General Milley, he looks as dumb as he is, plus fishnet stockings and lipstick. These people have been made to look like a bunch of fools, and they're going to blame a 21-year-old Air National Guardsman. Unbelievable. This story stinks, and it's also comical because it makes these people in government look even more incompetent than they usually look. Whew. All right, let's have some more fun. Jolene, I want to do another one. Let's do another one. We got Charles Gentry. He says, statement, I don't know what I should do. I don't even know what I must do. I only know what I can do. I know my limitations. My enemies do not. I have tested myself and been tested by others. I know. Well, I tell you what, there is that line from, I think it was Magnum Force with Clint Eastwood. He did his squinty thing. He says, a man's got to know his limitations. Yeah, man's got to know his limitations. We all do. And it's a good thing that you've been tested, that you've tested yourself and you've tested others. That's a good thing to have done. It it keeps you from putting yourself in situations that are bad. Now, conversely, you know your limitations, but others do not. So you never give that away. Here we go into your Sun Tzu, right? Your Chinese war philosophy. Is it cultural appropriation for me to have read Sun Tzu? Fucking idiots. Anyways, right? You do not let your enemies know your weaknesses. In fact, where you're weak, you portray strength, right? When you do that, you keep them from attacking that side. And where you're strong, you appear to be weak. To draw the enemy into one of your strong suits where you can whip the living shit out of them, so to speak. So, it's the same works, folks, for debate. The same works for everything, business. If you need to use one of the tools, in fact, literally, folks, Sun Tzu is about using deception to defeat your enemies. That's really what all the philosophy is about. It's a very small book. It's a little book. It is philosophical in a way, but basically it's about how to fool your fucking enemy into losing the war, either by running into the teeth of your military, right, or running away from you because you fooled the shit out of them. So but it really is. It's a good philosophy to work with. But if you know your limitations, right, that means both your strengths and your weaknesses. You should know your limit on your strength, and you should know that limit on your weakness. And then you protect the weak side and you use the strong side. But you don't show that to your enemy. You keep those cards pretty close to the vest. All right, great topic. Great topic. Will be very useful because I know you'll want to employ that if you have a band of lunatic, middle class and up, white, self-hating, self-loathing, idiot college students called Antifa. Bunch of entitled little mongrels out of the suburbs that want to come and make trouble in your world. All right, if we shall, let us move on. We've got survival readiness. And he says, if I see Nancy Pelosi buying Raytheon stock, I'll know SHTF is about to pop off. Now, I know that survival readiness is making a joke using, some fact in it. Now, here's the deal about Raytheon. And if you want to throw in all of the other military industrial complex companies, Pratt & Whitney and Witt and Pratt & and McDonnell Douglas, Bechtel, right? If you want to throw all of them in there, they're making a shit pile of stuff right now for the United States government because they're sending all their old bombs, old missiles, old tech over to Ukraine. But guess what? China, folks, or as President Trump calls them, China, they're sending their goodies. In fact, I think Iran, or is it India, or is it both? They're sending their technological weaponry up to Russia to be used against the Ukraine, NATO, United States-backed military. Folks, it is World War III. The fighting has begun. The weapons are being used. They're being spent. They're being, shall we say, used in such a way that new ones need to be purchased. Fact, World War III is gone. And it's shot out in front of us, and we're going to run right into the teeth of it if you didn't see it launched. Michael Brown sent another $5 super chat donation in. Thank you, Michael. Awesome. Oh, and shoot, and here he is. He says, Epithets is the word. The government created racism. We are all brothers and we are all Americans. Damn right. Damn right. The government created racism. It is a political and social weapon. Racism. We are all brothers, folks, and we are all Americans. Anytime someone wants to say, I'm a white American, I'm a black American, I'm a Native American, what they've done is they've kind of split themselves off. They've made themselves special. And I understand, you almost do it subconsciously because everyone throws around these epithets, these special words, right? These notices in order to distinguish ourselves. And folks, everyone wants to be accepted and everyone also wants to be special. So they come up with, special names and special titles for themselves. But if you break it all down, we're all brothers and sisters. We're all part of the family of human freaking beings living in this country and on this planet. But particularly here in America, right? We have this thing about being Americans. And it is bred into us, regardless of color. It's the FU gene. This desire to be free and to tell everyone else, go fuck yourself, right? Leave me alone. I work my ass off. I'll put up with some government intervention and taxes. But for the most part, we're Americans, we're free, and we love that shit. Go somewhere, folks, where you're not free. And you'll find out exactly what that's all about. We're feeling it right now by them dividing America to conquer America. They're silencing us. First Amendment. They want to take your gun. Second Amendment. They want to convict you on any crime they charge you with. Fourth and Fifth Amendment. Also the seventh, right? Cruel and unusual punishment. They want that, folks. They want that. And we keep telling these freaking communist freaks, if you don't like America, get the fuck out. There's plenty of socialist and communist piece of shit countries in South America, in Africa, in Europe, in Asia. Go find one there. And they're like, no, I don't want to go there. It's scary. But then they hate America and they hate the fact that we love freedom. Wow. One of the reasons I share with you guys, Semper Fi, always faithful. I'm faithful to my oath. I can't wait for the day that I get to, well, every day I kind of live up to my oath to defend America against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I want everyone in another country to know they come to this country, they're going to be fucking with people, and people like me, regardless of color, wherever they're at, are going to give them hell for it. Right? And in this country, if you hate America and you're anti-American and you're a freaking communist, stinking Democrat piece of shit, guys like me are out here and we oppose you. We oppose you with all of our being. Shit hitting the fan? You bet. World War III, it's going. Social unrest, it's coming. The economy, whoo, we got some problems there. Economy coming down, yeah, look out. All right, I know we got some more questions and I've gone a little bit long, and it's Ronan Prepper. He says, John, in one breath, government says we will defend Taiwan, but in the other breath, he supports the one China policy. What the fuck? Exactly, man. These people will talk out both sides of their neck because lying is easy for them. They can lie about this and then they can lie about that. And who holds them accountable? The media? Not a fucking chance. The media does not hold them accountable. So they can get away with it. You and I, we'll hear it, we'll see it, we'll detect it. We've got no voice. They're trying to take it away from us. So it's up to us to spread the word via, right, the internet address, emails, text, prep to action. All right. If you would. Oh, Yankee Watchdog. He says, John, my kids' mother-in-law got loaded into an ambulance yesterday, not breathing. Ooh. Fentanyl in her prescription drugs. They got her going again, but what the fuck? Fentanyl in her prescription drugs. Interesting. Now, fentanyl is a drug that's it's used medically. I believe Michael Jackson was prescribed fentanyl. I may be a little bit wrong about that. And supposedly he died of an overdose of it. And I'm sorry to hear that happened, man. What the fuck? You can't trust doctors. You can't trust pharmacies. You can't trust the drug dealer on your corner to get you the good stuff. That's just it. I never got into illegal drugs because you never know what the fuck you're going to get. Scary. Also, I am worried that one of these days I'm going to, try and take some of my vitamins, and instead of some nice white powdered amino acids, I'm going to get some nice white powdered freaking fentanyl. And if I take a handful of them, I'm going to OD. And then people go, I knew it. I knew John was a drug addict. We took a whole handful of that shit and finally keeled the fuck over. Yeah, look out, folks. Be careful in all things you do. Trust no one any further than you can kick them. Okay, do we have some more? I know we've gone past an hour in survival readiness. And he says, John, the U.S. showed the world who the big dog was in WWII, World War II, with the deployment of the atom bomb. Do you think the U.S. has more new tech they are holding on to for the next big world war? Yes, I do. But I want to take you back in history. In World War II, the United States was the big dog. Germany was also a very big, nasty dog. And there's a lot of evidence to suggest that they also had the atomic bomb, the A-bomb, if you will. Became the nuclear bomb later, but it started as the atomic bomb. Now, the atomic bomb is not what won the war. The atomic bomb was what ended the war. The U.S. Marines were coming up through the Pacific towards Japan. And they were fighting their asses off. Solomon Islands, Truk, right? The Navy was out there fighting like fuckers. Everyone was kicking some ass, right? They got to Iwo Jima. They fucking took and killed and burned every bush off of that little volcanic crust of an island, trying to fight the Japanese, who fought tooth and nail as good as any warriors ever had. Okay. The Japanese people were deathly afraid of the Marines. They thought of them as a bunch of murderous, giant, cannibal, just barbarians, right? That was the reputation they had in Japan. Regardless of the fear of the Japanese people, the United States government was under the impression that it would be a terribly hard fight once they got to the Japanese mainland, trying to take a country full of very proud warrior type people, the Japanese. Now, so the atom bomb was used to convince Japan that the fight was over and that the suffering for civilians would be beyond reproach. And they did. Hiroshima and then Nagasaki, they literally French fried tens of thousands of people. Awful. What an awful fucking way to die. Civilians, folks. The U.S. under Harry S. Truman bombed civilians, men, women, and children who were not engaged in the war. They bombed them, cooked them, burned their fucking shadows into the wall, right? And that ended the war. Now, does the U.S. have more new tech? It's possible, right? One of the elements of having a super weapon is to keep it a secret and deploy it to create a decisive victory, or like we did with Japan, convince the enemy to give up. The other part of having incredible new tech super weapons is to show the world that yes, you do have them. And that is used as a deterrent to keep other people from engaging in war. Now, that said, It's hard to find a weapon more terrifying and more deadly than the nuclear weapons of today. Now, do they have something called a rod of God, which is a super hypersonic device that is launched from space that uses gravity to send this weapon hurtling down and penetrating the Earth's crust and causing all types of havoc and hell and bullshit? Oh, yeah, I guess they could have that. It has to be used and deployed in such a way to create maximum effect. But it's so fast and invisible, if you want to describe these weapons, that, well, how would the enemy know? Another weapon that could be a new tech weapon would cause more trouble, not just, let's just say it had to be used on Iran. When that weapon was used, a lot of people in America are going to go, hey, 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 because of what we've seen here in America. I'm talking about what type of weapon, folks? Directed energy weapons. Directed energy weapons. There have been suspicious events like steel-framed buildings burning in a so-called forest fire in California. Steel-framed buildings and girders and cars melting, while the trees just 50 feet away aren't anything more than just a little bit singed. As if a giant space-based fucking laser was cooking along the ground, cooking and frying things in its path. And that has happened multiple times in multiple places. One time it happened in Santa Rosa, California. Incinerated an entire neighborhood. Burned the fucking foundations to the ground. That's not a forest fire, folks. That's not how that shit works. Yeah, so we could have directed energy weapons or rod of God. Could have EMP style weapons that could disable the enemy entirely. Don't know. You know, but to say that you have them and show that you have them and keep the world paralyzed in fear, that's interesting, right? But again, someone like Russia could just say, you know what? Fuck your directed energy weapons. You want to launch that shit against us? We'll just launch a couple nukes against you. See how you like the fucking Tsar bomb, which is like 10,000 times what the Hiroshima atomic bomb was. I mean, you want to turn, they could turn Washington, D.C. into a big pile of molten goo. So I don't want that for anyone, folks. But these are the games that are being played by people with IQs of a potato. Potato Joe Biden. He's in charge. Scary, scary, scary business. Folks, chance favors the prepared mind. I will see you Sunday at Sunday Night Live. That'll be 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 3 p.m. Pacific Time. We're going to be on the backup channel to the backup channel to the backup channel, as well as subscribestar.com and the preparedmind.club. So if you're a premium member, you're supporting this channel. All of our research, the people behind the scenes, the subscriptions. Folks, I got to get news from a lot of places. And I still take a great deal of pride in knowing that I report in a satirical way events that are going on out there. And I have people the next day after I report it say, hey, John, did you hear about this? I'm like, yeah, watch yesterday's show. I talked about it. So that we are prepared as much as we can ahead of time. So that we're not surprised, shocked, or taken aback. Right? That's my modus operandi, Michael, is to be ahead of the curve because chance favors the prepared mind. Is yours. Godspeed, Semper Fi. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you Sunday at the zoo. Bam! Yes, sir.